Here is why your fragrance doesn't perform and why it doesn't last, and then how can we fix the problem. All right, so guys, as someone who's been collecting fragrances for over 10 years and over a decade, every fragrance enthusiast and every person who gets into fragrances, one of the most frustrating experiences that we go through is when you get your hands on a new fragrance, especially if you put a pretty penny behind your investment in your fragrance. You wear it and then you don't hardly get any longevity or performance out of it. Okay, there are simple reasons, simple ways to avoid this problem, and we're going to talk about that in this video. Here we go. Number one, first and foremost reason why your performance on your fragrance is weak, it starts off with your skin, and specifically it's the level of hydration of your skin. Okay, one thing to always remember is that dry skin affects the performance in the worst way of fragrance. Okay, when your skin is dry, right, your fragrance easily evaporates quicker and faster. Okay, and so that also then makes it to where your fragrance molecules can't really seep into your skin, and thus your projection and your longevity is affected. Okay, think of your fragrance as like paint onto a canvas, right? You want a level of moisture on your skin before you apply your fragrance. That way you get the optimal longevity and performance out of it. The best practices is to get some type of lotion or moisturizer. I like Vaseline as something where it's thick. It'll really moisten and seep into your skin, right? And you can use scented or unscented Vaseline if your skin is a little bit more sensitive. Maybe you don't want to always use chemicals as far as your type of lotion, as long as you have some level of moisturizer and also hydration too, making sure that your skin is hydrated. That first hack goes a long way in terms of making sure that your skin is at an optimal level for your fragrance to perform. All right, so first and foremost thing key is making sure that your skin is not dry and that it's hydrated and moisturized. The second thing that you have to understand, and the second part that affects your fragrance longevity, is going to be your application technique of your fragrance. And what specifically what we talk about here is one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people make when it comes to fragrances. They'll take a cologne, they'll spray it, and then after they spray it, the first thing they do is they rub their wrists together, right? When you rub your wrists together, you are literally breaking down the molecules of the fragrance and you're affecting the longevity of the fragrance. The best practice is also after you make sure that your skin is hydrated, you just want to simply, not too close, not too far, but about 4 to 6 inches, you just spray it onto your skin. Your pulse points in particular, and your pulse points are going to be your neck, the front of the neck, behind the neck, the wrists, okay? Anywhere that generates heat, also behind the ears and as well as the chest, okay? And you just want to let the fragrance sit naturally and evaporate naturally, right? If you think about it, fragrance, there's alcohol involved, so that means that there's going to be a mode of evaporation for your fragrance. After the fragrance evaporates, then if you have well hydrated, moisturized skin, the fragrance will be able to perform and be able to project, especially in the heat as well. Okay, so always remember application technique. Don't rub together, let the fragrance air out naturally. You'll have better and heightened performance. Third thing you have to understand is the fragrance concentration that you're going to be using. All right, so not all fragrances are built the same. One of the key things I told you guys previously is that there are 3 main concentrations of fragrance that you guys will be buying and kind of seeing whenever you guys go out to any store, or even whenever you're buying fragrances online: eau de toilette, eau de parfum, and parfum. And eau de toilette to parfum to eau de parfum to parfum are going to all be the amounts of parfum concentration that you get in the fragrance, right? Eau de toilette is lighter, it's a little bit more fresh, it's a lower oil concentration. Eau de parfum is a little bit higher in concentration, so that means it's going to be a little bit deeper, richer, it's going to be more long lasting. Generally, right? Generally is always going to be the rule of thumb. And then whenever you get the parfum or the extrait de parfum, those are your thicker, more denser fragrance concentration. Those ones are going to be closer to the skin, a little bit more intimate, and their lasting power, the longevity, is usually beast mode. Okay, so if you want a fragrance that wants that, and you want a particularly heightened level of longevity, thickness, richness, you always want to go with the eau de parfum or the parfum. Just general rules of thumb, right? When you think about the types of fragrance you'll get in eau de toilette versus EDP versus parfum concentration, your lighter, more fresh, vibrant, kind of fragrances, those are usually going to come in EDTs. You'll get some of them in EDPs and parfums, but general rule of thumb, you're going to get most of your fresh fragrances in the EDT concentration. And then oftentimes, a lot of your deeper, richer, more amber, wood, sweeter, gourmand fragrances are going to be a little bit richer, a little bit thicker. So these are going to be your EDPs and your parfum concentrations. This is why generally you hear winter fragrances tend to last longer and be a little bit stronger. Your Spice Bomb Extreme, for example, is a very loud, projecting, high, long-lasting, really beast mode type of winter fragrance that is known for its performance and longevity. Even, you don't have to spray a whole lot of it. Stronger With You is another type of winter fragrance that is really warm, boozy, spicy, and it's also known for its longevity, okay? So those are things to consider, all right? Concentration matters, and the type of concentration will largely affect your performance and longevity. Fourth and final point, as far as the things that affect your performance, is you have to understand that environment matters, okay? Heat is what amplifies a fragrance, and cold is what suppresses a fragrance. If you've been inside the AC all day, maybe you've been inside indoors, you'll notice that your fragrance tends to perform a little bit softer, right? Especially as the day wanes and goes on, it's being suppressed by that cold air, right? It's not able to be out and really be activated, and because it's not activated, it can kind of seem like it's a little bit more intimate and probably a little bit more lighter. It's kind of more suppressed, versus when you're out in the sun, right? That sun already is naturally activating your fragrance. It's already making your body generate heat, and because your body is generating heat, it's helping your fragrance kind of project a little bit further. And then if your skin is moisturized, like we talked about, right, then people are really going to get a gauge for your sense of smell. It's also why it's particularly important to make sure you have your hygiene on deck, especially in these hot days, because your sense of smell and your hygiene really is going to be heightened in hot weather, both in a good way and a bad way. If you're someone who doesn't take their hygiene serious, you don't shower, you don't use deodorant, and you don't wear fragrance, and then you're out in the sun, it's very noticeable for people to smell you in the wrong way, right? They can smell when you walk by them and you smell like the inside of a wet gym sock, you see what I'm saying? Versus on the flip side, whenever you are someone who takes just their sense of smell seriously, you just have to get a simple fresh out the shower fragrance, right? That goes a long way in terms of building a nice first impression for you, okay? So always remember, heat is what amplifies fragrance and helps it perform and project. You want a nice fresh fragrance or heat in the outdoors, and then cold is what suppresses the fragrance, which is also why, when we talked about earlier, the stronger beast mode cold weather fragrances, you can afford to wear them indoors because they're going to naturally be suppressed by the cold air and also by the AC. Just a short recap on how to fix all these problems that we have listed. Make sure you moisturize your skin before you spray. Make sure your skin is hydrated. All right. Make sure that you spray on your pulse points. Okay. When we talk about your pulse points, those are your wrists. Those are going to be your neck, your chest. Okay. Your forearms. For me, who is a visual talker, right? Whenever you are out in the heat and you have fragrance on your wrists and you're talking with your hands, right? These are all things where people will get a wafty fragrance, and then get behind the neck. So the front of the neck and as well as behind the neck. Key thing, do not rub your fragrance together. None of this, okay? We're retiring this. If you do this, absolute massive mistake when it comes to fragrance. Make sure you're choosing the right concentration for the right situation, right? If you're trying to be outdoorsy, you can get away with a little bit more of an EDT because you're gonna be out in the heat, so it's gonna be naturally something that activates your fragrance, versus if you want something deeper, richer, you're gonna go with your EDP and your parfum and your extrait parfum concentrations. All right, then lastly, wear the right fragrance for the right type of weather, right? Heat can go with your fresh and clean, fresh to the shower fragrances. Those ones are a little bit more appropriate for those types of settings and weather. And then the cold weather is gonna be for your more gourmand, sweeter, spicier, bold, projecting type fragrances. To recap it all, fragrance isn't just about smelling good. It's also the way you show up. It's also about your personal identity, and it's also about your presence in the room, being able to be announced before you even have to say a word. Well, that'll do it for today, guys. That is it. Those are all the hacks on what affects your longevity, the mistakes people make, and then how to fix them, all right? Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, make sure you hit the subscribe and follow button so you get notified anytime I drop any fragrance content. Let me know what other fragrance videos you guys want me to drop, and I'll get them done for you. As always, guys, you guys have a good day. Appreciate you watching. We'll catch y'all in the next one. Much love.